Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraid Nashtaprayashu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Ruttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Om Agnanativinandasya Gnananjana Sabhakaya Praktiranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Chaitanya Manovistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Katamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandayam Shri Guru Shivatapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagriratam Sagana Raghunatham Tam Sarivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijan Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्यः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Okay, so we'll continue. So we're going to start chapter 10. Okay. Departure of Lord Krishna for Dwaraka. Shaunaka Uvacha Atva स्वरिक्तस्पृद आततायिनो युधिष्ठिरो धर्मभृतां वरिष्ठः सहानुजै प्रत्यवरुद्धभोजनः कथं प्रवृत्तः किम् अकारसीत् ततः. Shaunaka Muni asked, after killing his enemies who desired to usurp his rightful inheritance, how did the greatest of all religious men, Maharaja Yudhishthira, assisted by his brothers, rule his subjects? Surely he could not freely enjoy his kingdom with unrestricted consciousness. With unrestricted consciousness, because Yudhishthira Maharaj thought that he was responsible for killing so many people. And this was again just the will of the Lord, just like Arjuna was put into illusion. Yudhishthira Maharaj was, personification of dharma. He very clearly knew what was the reason for this fight and all that, but still, Lord had some intention. The beauty about pure devotees is that because they are literally instruments in the hands of Krishna, so they act in very weird ways. That is why it's very difficult to understand pure Vaishnavas. What they are doing, why they are doing, it's very difficult for us to understand. But because they are completely in the control of the Supreme Lord, so whatever he desires, he puts them into such situations and makes them do certain things. So here also, Yudhishthir Maharaj, though he is dharma personified, but still he is becoming bewildered about dharma. And he was, in the last chapter we read, like if he was feeling that he is responsible and no atonement will help him and all that. So he was feeling very, very bad about what he had done. Suta Uvacha Vamsham Kurorvamshadavagninirshritam Samrohayitva Bhavabhavano Harihi Niveshayitva Nijarajya Ishwaro Yudhishtiram Pritamana Babhuvaha. Suta Goswami said, Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the maintainer of the world, became pleased After re-establishing Maharaj Yudhishthira in his own kingdom, and after restoring the Kuru dynasty, which had been exhausted by the bamboo fire of anger, he is very pleased. So we also should, when we hear such things, we should we should just think what is the position of a devotee like Maharaj Yudhishthira, right? Who pleases the Lord. So we should also pray that we can also act in a way that we can be pleasing Krishna. In fact, I mean, this is the only motivator. This is the only motivator that if I follow what Krishna is saying, he will be pleased. So all the challenges one faces in life in practicing bhakti and our material attachments, things that are dragging us down, etc., to fight them, there has to be a motivation, isn't it? Everybody requires a motivation. And this is the motivation, sole motivation. And it's like the motivation of motivations. What else can one ask for? As in, if Krishna can be pleased by something that we do, then our life is perfect. Our life becomes perfect. So we should always seek to please Krishna. And how do we please Krishna? By pleasing Guru. And that is why it is very, very important. I keep reiterating this. Whom we get initiated from is very, very important. It's a personal relationship. There's nothing like one Vaishnava is superior to another, as in at that stage. Like I said, they all have their own mission to accomplish as completely directed by the Lord, right? So each one is engaging in his own way, serving Srila Prabhupada and Krishna. So it's not like one is superior to another. Sometimes many devotees actually promote this, saying that my guru is superior to your guru. It's all ignorance. There's nobody superior to anybody else because they're all pure devotees. Of course, amongst them, they might see difference in terms of who's superior, etc. But that's to them. But we are not supposed to make that distinction. It's very important to understand. Practically, for example, each different Maharaj in ISKCON have their own moods. Like some might be more liberal, some might be more strict, some might be more. They have their own moods. It doesn't mean that somebody who is strict is not good, or somebody who is liberal is better. Nothing like that, right? But we should connect. We should be able to connect with the Maharaj, right? And in such a way that we will be motivated to do things to please him. We should be as much attached to Guru as Krishna. Yasya prasadat bhagavat prasado. And that attachment should drive us to do things to please him. Otherwise, what is the point? Anyway, we look at Krishna and say, oh, okay, Krishna is not here. I can't see Krishna. I can't speak to Krishna, etc., whatever, right? We'll give our own reasons why we don't have to follow Krishna's instructions. But what about Guru? He's right here. So this has to be our motivator, actually, day in and day out. And then we'll take up any kind of challenges, whatever type of material challenges, doesn't matter. We'll be willing to fight it out because it is going to please Guru and Krishna. So Prabhupada is saying in the purport, the Lord wants the suffering human beings to come back home, back to him, and cease to suffer the threefold material pangs. The whole plan of creation is made in that way, and one who does not come to his senses suffers in the material world by pangs inflicted by the illusory energy of the Lord. So if we don't come to the pure platform of devotional service, we'll continue to be inflected by the illusory energy. Why am I saying pure devotional service? Because one can also come to mixed devotional service. Mixed devotion means still in touch with Maya. So then still the material pangs will continue. But one who becomes a pure devotee, he has no material pangs. There's no suffering. The Lord therefore wants his bona fide representative to rule the world. Of course, if there's a Kshatriya, Vaishnava, then he should rule the world. Otherwise, he's a Brahmana, he should guide a person, Kshatriya, who is willing to be guided. That is more ideal for us in this time and age. Prabhupada says that in different purports. Nishamya bhishmoktamathachutokkam pravritta vijnana vidhuta vibramaha shashasagam indra ivajitashrayah parithyupantam anujanuvartitaha. Maharaja Yudhishthira, after being enlightened by what was spoken by Bhishma Deva and Lord Sri Krishna, the infallible, engaged himself in matters of perfect knowledge, because all his misgivings were eradicated. It was eradicated because it was Krishna's plan that Bhishma Deva speak to him on his deathbed. So now all his misgivings were eradicated. Thus he ruled over the earth and seas and was followed by his younger brothers. So they followed whatever he said. There are so many states over the earth quarreling because of ideological differences or other selfish motives. And this is why even people quarrel, let alone states. Even people quarrel among themselves because of ideological differences or selfish motives. But a king like Maharaja Yudhishthira had no ideology of his own. See, he was such a qualified person, but he had no ideology of his own. You know, what does ideology of his own means? We saying, I think, I think, I think. This I think means ideology of our own. He had but to follow the instructions of the infallible Lord and the Lord's representative and authorized agent, Bhishma Dev. He got instructions from Bhishma Dev, so he had to just follow it. Therefore, it was possible for Maharaj Yudhishthira to rule the whole world, including the seas, because the principles were infallible, because he had got it from the infallible Lord. So his the principles on which he was ruling were infallible, and it was universally applicable. Not that it was applicable only in India, not in the West, like people now say. Saying, oh, these, whatever Prabhupada followed, it's okay for people in the East, but it's not suitable for people in the West. No. Infallible instructions, because the Lord's representative is also infallible. So it says it is a person who rules, not the impersonal government. If the person is perfect, the government is perfect. The person is a fool, the government is a fool's paradise. So Prabhupada talks a lot about, administrative aspects in these purports. Yatha Raja Tatha Praja. So this is very, very important. So we should follow, material for us, Prabhupada is the Raja. Everybody has to become his Praja. Thereby will become Praja of Krishna. Right? So we should follow what Prabhupada has said in his purports. And we should also help others to follow. And so this also we have to understand. We should not have any ideology of our own. Many times devotees here, but they keep saying, no, I don't think this is right. I think I should do this. I should not. It's all bogus. Whatever has been said has to be followed. We don't use our intelligence to reject instructions. We use intelligence to implement those instructions. For example, somebody says that, okay, don't go and do this service. We will have 150 reasons why I don't want to do that service. We don't want to use our intelligence there, but we should use our intelligence and okay, I've been given this service. How do I execute it? Now this Janmashtami, I'm requesting so many devotees to raise funds for temple, for our activities, etc. And many devotees are very unwilling because they think it is, oh, how can I go and ask somebody else? But we have to beg for Krishna. What is wrong in that? What is wrong in begging for Krishna? You're not begging for yourself, right? And any which way, people have so much money. It's not like there's any dearth for money, right? And I keep telling every grihastha has to give Lakshmi. Every grihastha has to give money to Krishna. So we'll also give an opportunity for other grihasthas who are not doing it by going and asking them, saying that, okay, there's an occasion, there's Janmashtami, can you please give? And it's very simple, right? We have receipt books with 25 pages. Even if one person gives 100 rupees, if one person collects 2,500 rupees, if there are 50 people, 100 people, right? Like we'll collect so much of money, which will be used in Krishna's service, which that money is anyway people are wasting today, isn't it? Spending it on worthless things. So we should use our intelligence. Okay, how can I convince this person to give? Okay, he's only saying 100 now. How can I convince him to give 500? See, and it's not like we are not, we don't have to become a pain to people, but we can always motivate them, inspire them, help them understand that, of course, they're going to get benefit by giving that. They're going to come closer to Krishna, right? So these instructions are difficult. I know. I mean, I've been in these situations before. Today, I have no qualms begging from people for Krishna. But when I was early stages of my bhakti, I also used to find it very odd, saying that, oh, what is this? But I never understood. I always, it was all because of false ego. Right? Saying, how can I go and ask? Who's I? I'm nobody. I'm just a servant of Krishna. So as long as we become fixed in that platform, then it's not very difficult. Oh, Krishna's asked me to do, I'm doing it. That's all simple. Why? Because it's birthday. And because it's Krishna's birthday. And so we want to celebrate it nicely. We want to please Krishna. We want to offer some nice things to Krishna on that day. Right? So that should inspire us. Okay, it's okay. I'll go and ask. Kamam vavarša parjanya sarva kama dugamahi shishichu sma brajan khava payasodhasvatir mudha muda. During the reign of Maharaj Yudhishthira, the cloud showered all the water that people needed, and the earth produced all the necessities of man in profusion. Due to its fatty milk bag and cheerful attitude, the cow used to moisten the grazing ground with milk. The Prabhupada says, when the Lord is obeyed by the king and the people under the king's administration, there are regulated rains. These rains are the causes of varieties of production. There's enough milk, enough grains, enough fruit, enough cotton, enough silk, enough jewels. And why do people need cinemas, houses of prostitution, slaughterhouses, etc.? What is the need of an artificial, luxurious life of cinema, cars, radio, flesh, and hotels? What a powerful statement. Prabhupada saying, if we follow what the Lord is saying, all our necessities will be given. Milk, grains, fruits, cotton, silk, jewels, etc. Everything will be given. Then why all these artificial luxuries of life? Why do we want to go behind these artificial luxuries of life? These artificial luxuries of life actually are going to pull us down. Though they might seem like they're going to, it's nice for possess these, but trying to possess each of these is a pain. You have to slog so much for that. Therefore, in contrast with the modern, advanced, civilized form of government, an autocracy like Maharaja Yudhishthira's is by far superior to a so-called democracy in which animals are killed and a man less than an animal is allowed to cast votes for another less than animal man. People will just die hearing these statements. So-called democracy. We all go and vote. I don't vote. In which animals are killed, first of all. And to aid this animal killing, we vote people. And man who is less than an animal. People who vote, Prabhupada is calling them less than an animal, is allowed to cast votes for another less than an animal man who's standing for the election. Mother material nature has enough foodstuff both for humans and for men by the grace of the Father Almighty, Sri Krishna. Human being is the elder brother of all other living beings. He is endowed with intelligence more powerful than animals for realizing the course of nature and the indications of the Almighty Father. Human civilization should depend on the production of material nature without artificially attempting economic development to turn the world into a chaos of artificial greed and power, only for the purpose of artificial luxuries and sense gratification. This is but the life of dogs and hogs. So what is Prabhupada saying here? Human civilization should depend on production of material nature, which is Krishi, Goraksha, without artificially attempting economic development. Artificial economic development will result in what? Turn the world into a chaos of artificial greed and power. People want greed, people are greedy, people want power, people want money, people want enjoyment. For what? Only for the purpose of artificial luxuries and sense gratification. But this is the life of dogs and hogs. So Mother Nature has given everything, just take it and follow the instructions of Father Almighty Sri Krishna. And then one can be happy, not with, going behind creating a luxurious life of cinema, cars, radio, flesh, and hotels. It's a slap on modern civilization, which is ruining human society today. Modern civilization is ruining. So-called advancement is ruining. And we have no clue. We are not bothered about it. We're also engaged in our accumulation of all these so-called luxuries in life. We're saying, what is the need of all this? And so, if people pay proper attention to Prabhupada's purpose, of course, we might get discouraged hearing all this saying, oh, this is what my life is all about. And, Prabhupada is saying this is rubbish. That means that we have based our life on some rubbish. So it's better to change it now than continuing to depend on that rubbish for the rest of our life, isn't it? It is heavy. Prabhupada's statements are heavy. So people choose to ignore. And I choose to, accumulate these statements. These are heavy statements and people will read it and forget it. Okay, gone. But we should not forget these statements. We should remember these statements. We should meditate on these statements. We should implement these statements in our life. We should not get discouraged. Like I said, all this is for only one thing, is to see Krishna being pleased by what we do. And Krishna reciprocates so nicely. Yesterday we have this, every Saturday we have this program in near, in local area here called Chandra Layout. And yesterday, Lord tested so many devotees. So we have our class at 6:15 and 5:45 it started raining. And all devotees, when we came there, we were discussing, everybody was anxious. Oh, what will happen? Some thought about themselves being able to come to the program. Some thought about others. Some thought about, okay, what about prasadam? What will happen if some prasadam has been made and it won't be taken? Some thought, no, how can I miss the class? So different devotees had different feelings, but they all wanted to come. Basically, they all wanted to come. And it is so amazing. 5:45, the rain started. Crazy downpour. 15 minutes stopped and there's sunshine. And we all came there and, like Amazing. This is Krishna reciprocating with his devotees who all wanted to come and glorify him. And Krishna reciprocates. And when we see these things, oh, Krishna is there. Krishna is pleased. So he created a situation for us to glorify him. And when we experience these things, like somebody is asking me yesterday saying that, Prabhu, why you are so happy? I said, see, Krishna is reciprocating right in front of us. Why shouldn't we be happy? We are trying to serve such a nice Lord who is not just simply taking from us like this whole material world. It's just taking from us. Right? But the Lord gives. When we give love to him, he gives so much of love in reciprocation. And why is it that we don't want that? And all that we have to do is simply follow what he's saying. What is the difficulty? Prabhupada said, what is the difficulty? Simply write this one statement in front of you saying that, can I do something to please Krishna? Can I do everything to please Krishna? Just this whole thing about pleasing, wanting to please Krishna, let it be in front of us. Then this whole life will not become difficult for us. Following these rules, regulations, and this and that and all that will not become a labor. We'll be happy. Oh, okay, this is tough for me. Krishna knows it's difficult for me to get up in the morning. But I'm still trying. Why? Because I want to please Krishna. And then if you do, even one day if you do, Krishna is pleased. Right? So that's all. Bhakti is, that's all. This is what it is. And this is actually Raga Bhakti at one level. Because we are trying to do things for the pleasure of Krishna. Okay. Nadya samudra girayah savanaspati virudaha phalantyoshadhaya sarva kamam anbrutu tasya vai. The rivers, oceans, hills, mountains, forests, creepers, and active drugs in every season paid their tax quota to the king in profusion. The secret to success is to take refuge under the protection of the Supreme Lord. Without his sanction, nothing can be possible. To make economic development by our own endeavors on the strength of tools and machinery is not all. The sanction of the Supreme Lord must be there. Otherwise, despite all instrumental arrangements, everything will be unsuccessful. So we have to take refuge of the Supreme Lord. We have to have his sanction. Then everything will be successful. If the Lord is not pleased by what we are doing, then technically, which means that it doesn't have his sanction, then everything will be unsuccessful. Actually, the state belongs to the Supreme Lord. The rivers, oceans, forests, hills, drugs, etc. are not creations of man. They're all creations of the Supreme Lord, and the living being is allowed to make use of the property of the Lord for the service of the Lord. This is what we are forgetting. That Krishna has given us all these facilities for what? So that we can use his property in his service. And we are becoming thieves or bad children, by just taking everything and using it for ourselves. We are just being bad children. Or we are being thieves. If we don't consider ourselves children of the Lord, then we are taking somebody else's property and just using it. We are thieves. Today's slogan is that everything is for the people and therefore the government is for the people, by the people. It's not. It's for the Lord and by the Lord. Everything is him. There's enough of everything by the will of the Lord, and we can make proper use of things to live comfortably without enmity between man and man or animal, man and nature. The control of the Lord is everywhere, and the Lord is pleased. Every part of nature will be pleased. So we don't have to fight with each other. Oh, this is mine. Why are you taking away? No, everything is given by the Lord. It's okay. We can share with others also. We teach this to children, saying that you should share, but we don't share ourselves. We tell Krishna, Krishna, this is my money. Let me keep it. Or whatever, right? We want to share, we have to give something to somebody, we'll be hesitating. We'll be thinking 100 times, should I give? Why should I give? They didn't give me last time. All kinds of calculations we will do. The artificial way of living, depending on factories and tools, can render so-called happiness only to a limited number at the cost of millions. So-called happiness because it's not real happiness. But even that so-called happiness comes at the cost of millions who are working in those factories. Since the energy of the mass of people is engaged in factory production, the natural products are being hampered, and for this, the mass is unhappy. There's no control by the trained agent of the Lord, which is the administrator. We must look into the defects of modern civilization by comparison here and should follow in the footsteps of Maharaj Yudhishthira to cleanse man and wipe out anachronisms. So we should try to follow the Supreme Lord. We should have such a ruler who will help everybody to follow the desires of the Supreme Lord. Factories, Ugra Karma is not going to be helpful. And we should remember that everything is for the Lord and by the Lord. And of the Lord anyway. Nadhayo vyadaya klesha daiva bhutatmahetavah ajata shatrav abhavan jantu nam ragni karhichit. Because of the kings having no enemy, the living beings were not at any time disturbed by mental agonies, diseases, or excessive heat or cold. So we can see what is our state. And here the reason being given is because the kings having no enemy. Here no enemy, here no enemy. So the qualification of an ideal ruler. The whole world was united, and the supreme head, being a trained king like Maharaj Yudhishthir, kept all the inhabitants free from anxiety, diseases, and excessive heat and cold. They were not only economically well-to-do, but also physically fit and undisturbed by supernatural power, by enmity from other living beings, and by disturbance of bodily and mental agonies. Exactly the things we are suffering because of these, right? People are not physically fit, and they're disturbed by supernatural power. They're not economically well-to-do. The enmity between living beings. There's disturbance due to body and mind. There's a proverb in Bengali that a bad king spoils the kingdom and a bad housewife spoils the family. Anyway, I don't want to go into this discussion of a bad housewife. So the whole point here is that we are suffering today because of wrong leadership, bad leaders. Why? Because they're allowing us to do things that we should not be doing, and thereby we are suffering. If the leader guides everybody to do the right things, then nobody will do wrong things. And then there's no reaction because of that. There's no karma phala, bad karma phala, because of which people are suffering. Because the king was pious and obedient to the Lord and sages, because he was no one's enemy, and because he was a recognized agent of the Lord, and therefore protected by him, all the citizens under king's protection were, so to speak, directly protected by the Lord and his authorized agency. Look at this. If the king is a recognized agent of the Lord, he is protected by the Lord. Therefore, his citizens are also protected by the Lord. Unless one is pious and recognized by the Lord, he cannot make others happy who are under his care. This applies to all of us also. In our own families, unless we are pious and recognized by the Lord, we cannot make others in the house happy also. Then what about this universal, this governments and states and nations, how difficult it is. So one has to be pious and be recognized by the Lord. Pious doesn't mean just doing some mundane punya. No, we have to follow the instructions of the Lord, and then only we can be happy and we can keep others also happy. उषित्वा हास्तिन पुरे मासान् कतिपयान् हरिः सुहृदां च विशोकाय स्वसुष्ट प्रियकाम्यया. Sri Hari, Lord Sri Krishna, resided at Hastinapura for a few months to pacify his relatives and please his own sister Subhadra. Why did he want to please his own sister Subhadra? Because she had lost her son Abhimanyu, her only son, who had just been married and whose wife Uttara was carrying. Prabhupada says the Lord is always pleased to satisfy his devotees in any capacity. Lord is always pleased. So we should also be always trying to please him. Lord is always ready to do that. Amantra chabhyanugnataha parishvadhyabhivadyatam aruroha pratham kaischit parishvakto bhivaditaha. Afterwards, when the Lord asked permission to depart and the king gave it, the Lord offered his respects to Maharaj Yudhishthira by bowing down at his feet, and the king embraced him because the king was elderly to Krishna. After this, the Lord, being embraced by others and receiving their obeisances, got into his chariot. And because he is taking permission, he asked permission from the king. Previously, he asked permission from the king, and Yudhishthira said, "No, don't go." And then Krishna knew, then Bhishma spoke instructions. Now Yudhishthira is happy. He's saying, okay. He's not happy, but he's allowing him to go. Saying, okay, I don't have any reason to hold back the Lord. And so he's bowing down, Krishna is bowing down at the feet of Yudhishthira, and Yudhishthira is embracing him. Subhadra Draupadi Kunti Viratatanaya Tatha Gandhari Dhritarashtrascha Yuyutsul Gautamo Yamo Rukodarascha Dhaumyascha Striyo Matsya Sutadayah Na Sehire Vimushyanto Viraham Sangadanvanaha. At that time, Subhadra, Draupadi, Kunti, Uttara, Gandhari, Dhritarashtra, Yuyutsu, Krupacharya, Nakula, Sahadeva, Bhimasena, Dhaumya, Satyavati, all nearly fainted because it was impossible for them to bear separation from Lord Krishna. I remember previously, before coming to Krishna consciousness, like if you see a cricket team, right, and we say three great names like Sachin Tendulkar, Rahul Dravid, etc. Just feel, oh my God, what a powerful! And then when all of them came together and found one team, you see, oh wow, amazing! It's like this. When we see all these devotees together, I keep thinking, oh wow, what if we were able to, be among such devotees? And today also, if we see like names of great, Vaishnavas, like we read in Chaitanya Charitamrita, or even just if you look at our present day Vaishnavas in ISKCON, and when all of them gather together, you feel, oh my God, really so powerful it will be, right? So when there's a list of names, we should get excited, saying, oh, can I serve these people in some way? How can I serve them? Because they're all so great, right? They nearly fainted because it was impossible for them to bear separation from Lord Krishna. Dhritarashtra also pictures in this list. Somehow he's fortunate he's here. Though he spent his whole life being against Pandavas and thereby Krishna. So Prabhupada is saying Lord Krishna is so attractive, especially for the devotees, that it is impossible for them to tolerate separation. But why is it that we are not feeling this? Prabhupada answers, the conditioned soul under the spell of illusory energy forgets the Lord, otherwise he cannot. The feeling of such separation cannot be described, but it can simply be imagined by devotees only. Can we imagine? Can we imagine what that feeling of separation is? Because Krishna is so attractive that it is impossible for them to tolerate separation. So we can understand really what is the state we have to reach. We have to reach this stage where we are so attracted by Krishna that we are just not able to live a moment without him. This is the stage we have to go live. We have to reach. But today we are so attracted by Maya that we cannot for a moment be without Maya. Isn't it? So we have to change the object of our attraction. How will this change happen? How will we change our object of attraction? Anybody wants to answer?
ABCD, Prabhu.
ABCD. Okay. Anybody else wants to answer?
By keeping Krishna at the center.
By keeping Krishna at the center. Okay.
By reading Bhagavatam daily, and after reading, we need to try how to implement those. I mean, we need to meditate and we need to try to implement in our life practically.
Okay. Okay. Any other answers? Have you been attracted to anything in life? And if so, what attracted us? I mean, any mundane example you can give.
Sports, Prabhu.
Sports, yeah. So what attracted you to sports?
Maybe helps to keep our body fit.
Okay. Okay, utility maybe. Okay, because of utility we got attracted. Okay, what other? And how did we get attracted? It's a very simple thing, right? We will get easily attracted. Yes, all of answers that you said, all of it is correct. All of it is correct. Right? Somebody's sending me a chat. Shravanam and service. Okay, so I will tell you one more, which is the answer. Shravanam is the answer, right? Now everything else only follows. And service is a result of love. When we love Krishna, we will want to do service. You know, but how will we get attracted in the first place to Krishna? Or why is it that we are not attracted to Krishna? Let me ask that question. Why is it that we are not attracted so much to Krishna? Let me put it that way. It's not that we're not attracted to Krishna. Why is it that we are not attracted so much to Krishna that we are not fainting?
Prabhuji, because we don't know much about Krishna.
Okay, we don't know much about Krishna. What else?
Ruji, like you mentioned, it's Shravanam, because the more we listen, the more we see, automatically mind also starts absorbing it. And if we don't do that, our initial step is only failed.
Okay. So one thing is we are attracted to Maya today, right? We are attracted different. Each of us are attracted differently to Maya, right? And Maya can be anything, right? It depends on where we stand, whatever it is, right? For somebody it is money, for somebody it is family, for somebody it is something else, blah blah, whatever, right? Various things. Somebody wants to succeed at work, they don't want money, they want to succeed at work, etc., right? We are all attracted to Maya. Now we have to understand, we have to, our some attraction that we develop should be more powerful than this attraction, right? Yes, the process of reading Shravanam, right? Now what is the difference between reading and Shravanam? And why both Shravanam and reading? There are two processes that we have to follow, isn't it? why there are two processes. Why can't it just be reading?
It can lead to our assumptions, Prabhu. Maybe
Okay.
reading, it puts us into thinking that this is what I think.
Yeah. So we might
Shravanam
assume.
is
Yeah, we
different
might
also.
assume certain things, and then reading something, and we might just assume something and then believe that that's what it is. Right? Yeah. So wrong assumptions, or maybe we're not straightforward in our thinking. Right? So reading might not result in the result, expected result. What about Shravanam? Then what?
Listening from a senior devotee
Hmm.
or who is in a higher position than everybody. We listening from them gives us more potential than reading a book by ourselves.
Yeah, but I'm asking why.
Because it's coming from Parampara, Prabhu.
A book is also coming from Parampara. See, it's not that Shravanam doesn't have, like many times I've seen, speaker will be saying something, each hearer is understanding it differently because they have like a filter, right? Or it's all going through the same assumptions only. So, uh, so assumptions might still be there, but there is one very powerful thing which we can experience in Shravanam, which we can experience in here reading also, but it is slightly difficult because
Purity.
purity. Yeah. Okay. Explain.
Suppose if the speaker, whatever he is telling, he is practicing and um,
Hmm.
is, I mean, as Prabhupada says, purity is the
The
force.
four. Hmm.
So if he is practicing and if he is having that purity, then whatever he's saying, it will go and stuck in the heart to the
Hmm.
listener, and it will create an impression. At least we need to become serious and try to follow that whatever he's saying.
Hmm. It's a very simple thing, right? The people, like there are so many people who are motivational speakers, for example, or who are brand ambassadors. When people hear from them, somehow they get attracted to whatever they're promoting because they have it in their heart. They sincerely believe that whatever they're promoting is good, is important. Right? See, the beauty about Shravanam is that the bhakti which is there in the heart of the devotee is directly transferred to the hearers. Is directly transferred to the hearers. So if we hear from a person who is attracted to Krishna, automatically we'll get attracted. Is the most powerful way to develop attraction. Most powerful way. Because it's the same words, we can read it and we can just, we might, sometimes we might not even give enough importance to some statements, and we might read it and we might not pay attention, or we might not read it, whatever it is, right? So, but here, because that attraction is there in the person speaking, when we hear from such pure devotees, that attraction gets transferred. In fact, that is why I keep saying, please don't think of reading Prabhupada's books as reading. Please think about it as hearing. So sometimes it helps to actually read it aloud, read the translation purports aloud, like you are hearing, like somebody is speaking and you are hearing. Actually, because Prabhupada is obviously carrying Krishna in his heart, right? Otherwise, how can he make such beautiful statements? And somebody who's literally taken that into heart, and if he is speaking, such pure devotees will transfer that attraction to our hearts. And that is the reason we should do Shravanam, but we should do Shravanam from pure devotees who have that attachment, attraction to Krishna. Then we will slowly and steadily come to this stage of, feeling separation. Or at least in the first stage, we will develop some attraction towards Krishna, which is more than our material things. Because that attraction that the devotees possess in their hearts is very, very powerful. So don't, of course, then this comes to the question of quality of hearing. Quality of Shravanam, whom we are hearing from, is very, very important. And whenever we get to an opportunity to hear such devotees in person, please make use of the opportunities. Today we are also fortunate, actually, His Holiness Bhakti Purushottam Swami Maharaj is coming to ISKCON Sheshadripuram temple. And, we'll get an opportunity to hear from him in person. And such pure devotees also, because they carry so much of attraction to Krishna, it gets transferred. By their personality, we get purified. By their spiritual energy, we get purified. And by their darshana, we get purified. By the dust of their lotus feet, we get purified. So because they have so much attraction to Krishna, every aspect of their personality can attract us to Krishna. Many times I've seen, one seminar, one session I attend, some of these devotees, and then suddenly one step change. One step, my bhakti just, I've experienced this in the past. It just raised one level just by one class. Something that the speaker told, just had such an immense effect that I was just able to take my bhakti to the next level. They are like that. They're so powerful. And if you're hearing some people say, I'm hearing from this person, that person, you're not developing an attraction. Life is not transforming. Then don't hear. It's not useful. It's not being of any use. Maybe there's something wrong. Maybe there's something wrong in the way you're hearing. Maybe there's something wrong in the person from whom you're hearing. Something is wrong. Because pure devotees are so powerful that anything else cannot happen. Only this, because they have attraction to Krishna, we will develop attraction to Krishna. And for me, the basis for making this statement is Prabhupada's purports. It's just so amazing. It's so amazing that just simply lines like this, I get stuck. Simply one line like this, see, and nothing, right? Because we are not feeling separation. And when I read this statement, I say, oh my God, I'm not feeling separation from Krishna. What nonsense. What am I attracted towards? Why am I not attracted to Krishna? So very, very powerful. Please, focus, concentrate when you're reading Prabhupada's purports. It's just literally out of the world. It's out of the world. If we give it the required attention, no way we cannot develop attraction to Krishna. We will develop attraction to Krishna. So please, please, please read Prabhupada's purports again and again, again and again, again and again. Okay, I'll stop here. If anybody has any questions, we can discuss.